Hey guys, welcome to your 6th HTML and CSS crash course. In this tutorial, we're going to be diving straight into CSS. Now, what is CSS? CSS basically stands for Cascading Style Sheets. Now, what does this mean? CSS is used for making your HTML components or elements more presentable. So when you have a web page with different designs, transitions, animations, those are all done using CSS. Now, for this crash course, we're going to be learning the latest version of CSS, which is CSS3. Now, let's talk about some features of CSS3. CSS3 is the latest version of the CSS which I just mentioned. By using CSS3, you can easily use the old CSS elements as well. So you're not getting rid of the old elements. You can use the new elements of CSS3 alongside the old ones. Now, a lot of modules have been added to CSS3. Now, this means there are new functions, new style components which have been added to CSS3, which I'll be showing you as we move on in other tutorials. Now, CSS3 also has new text modules. So there are new text animations. We'll be diving into all this. You'll be understanding this later in other tutorials. CSS3 now has new font modules, and also CSS3 has transition and animation modules. Now you can make transitions and animations not just using JavaScript but using CSS3. Now you can make nice animations that will make your website or web page or web application look more presentable and user friendly. Now there's no need for you to use Photoshop to edit your pictures anymore, because CSS3 now has filter modules. Now these filter modules can be used for images. Basically, it's used for images, so you can add your contrast, you can add your blur effect, you can add your sepia effects, different effects using your CSS3. Now CSS3 also has CSS3 also has column modules. Lastly, CSS3 has the standard of media query. Now media query is used for making your web page or website look more responsive. By responsive, I mean your website will be able to work fully, and it's going to be totally responsive on any device, be it a large device, a small device, or a medium-sized device, be it your desktop, your laptop, your tablet, or your phones. So basically, this should be all you need to know about CSS3, some features you need to know about CSS3. But I also advise you go online and check about some new features of CSS3. Now in this tutorial, we're also going to be learning a bit of CSS3. I'm just going to be showing you how you can use CSS3 in your HTML. There are 3 methods of which you can do that. So let's dive straight into our VS Code. Now we're in our VS Code, and like I said earlier, well, I'm going to be showing you how to use CSS3 in your HTML. So let me just make this a bit bold. Now let's create a paragraph tag, and for this text in the paragraph tag, I want to add some style components. I want to make the font width, the font size to be bigger, the font width we can make it bold also, and I want to add a color to the text. So let's just give this paragraph a random text saying this is a new paragraph. Save this and let's open this with live server. So I'm just going to increase the font width of this. Okay, you can see it. So like I said, I'm going to increase the font width, the font size, and also add a color. So how do we do that? The first method of CSS we're going to be learning how to use is Inline Css. So we're going to import the style component in the paragraph. So say style, and in this style I said we're going to add a font size. So say font, let me get rid of this, font size semicolon, and let's make the font size 50 pixels. then you close this statement. You close it with the okay, yes, you close it with a semicolon. This is a full colon rather. Now the next thing we're going to do is to add a font width. Don't know why this thing keeps obstructing. Font width of let's say 700. I know you're wondering why this isn't in pixels, but when you use font width you don't have pixels. You either have 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900. Now those numbers vary from light to medium bold to bold and very bold. Now the next thing we're going to do is to add a color to the text. So let's say color, and we want to make this, let's say, blue. Save this and go back to your browser. So this is one method of using CSS. Now you can see the font size increased, the font width was also increased, and the text color changed to blue. Now let's talk about this color. Now in CSS we have RGB, we have RGBA, and we have hexadecimal colors. So, and we also have HSL, if I'm not mistaken. So let's say we wanted to use hexadecimal color of, let's say, 0011DD. You can see that's blue also. So that's the hexadecimal color of blue. Now don't get me confused. I didn't memorize all these hexadecimal colors in my head. Just that when you use them regularly, kind of memorize them, kind of get stuck in your head. But if you need to get some hexadecimal color, you can always reference Google. Now this is the first method of using CSS, which is inline styling. Now the next one we're going to learn is internal styling. So the difference between inline styling and internal styling is inline styling is usually applied to the element, the HTML element itself, but internal styling is done below the head of the HTML file. Style, create a style tag, okay, and now we're going to grab this paragraph tag. How do we grab it? We simply type in P. So this is saying we're referencing the paragraph tag. So let's make this, let's add a font size of 40 pixels, or okay, let's add a header so you can see the difference. H1, and we're going to say this is a header. So I'm going to make this color green, and for the H1 we're going to add a font width of, okay, normally for H1 the font width is usually bold, so you don't need this. So let's say font size should be 900, let's say 70 pixels. And okay, for this paragraph let's make it italicized. So say text transform italicized. Oh wait, no, okay, it's not text transform. Let's not italize. Let's say we want to underline this. So say text decoration underline. Save this and we'll make this, let's add a color of blue. Aqua blue. So go back to your browser. You can see this is aqua blue and this is green, and the text has been underlined. Now the third method is external styling. So let's get rid of this. And what we want to do is to create a new CSS file. Then we can style these components in the CSS file. So go to your VS Code and open this tab. And what you want to do is create a new file. I'll say style.css. So now we're going to link the CSS file to the HTML file. So type in link and say style.css. But okay, then go to your file. Let me show you something real quick. Now you can see the CSS file has been created here. But what if this CSS file was in a folder? So let's create a folder and say CSS, and we move this into the CSS folder. How do you import it? Go back here and say CSS slash style.css. You are entering the CSS folder to select the style.css. So save this and go to your style.css, grab the h1 or say body, give this a background color of let's say let's use this color, and grab the h1. Let's give this a color also let's say red, and you make this underline. So take decoration, underline, and grab the paragraph tag, color. Let's make this light gray. I think this okay, maybe like this. And next thing I want to do is add a font width of bold. So save this and go back to your browser. We're having an issue. I don't know why. Let me check real quick. Okay, so the issue was we opened the wrong CSS file because we have moved the CSS file into the CSS folder. So let's click on this one, okay, and style them back. So say body, add white background color of white smoke, add h1 of change the color to red, then add font size of let's say 50 pixels and make this underline. Save this and check your browser. So basically those are the three methods of using HTML CSS3 in your HTML file. So I'll see you in the next tutorial. Thank you for watching and goodbye for now.